Hey, I'm actor Chris Bartlett from The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you're watching Virtual Cantina Network.
Commence primary ignition.
Hey, Rebels.
Hello, hello. Happy Monday.
It is Monday. Welcome everybody for this next installment of the Summer of Snips here on Star Wars Rebels Revisited.
Week 2.
Week 2, big things.
It's exciting. I
It
can't
is.
believe it's here. We're in it.
Hi,
We
Jen.
have a nice watch along plan for tonight. Hey, Jen. We've got a great episode, Siege of Lothal Part 2. We started last week, obviously, with Siege of Lothal Part 1, with like a little sprinkling of Ahsoka, reminding everyone that she's
What'd you say?
around. But this episode is where kablooey with Ahsoka in this one.
Oh yeah, this happens. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
the look at Kanan is perfect. But it's also the moment where she has that big freak out moment where she realizes it's Vader, and Vader kind of realizes it's her, or she realizes it's Anakin, I guess I should say, or suspects. So that is exciting and horrifying, and
Yeah.
all
Oh
the
my
good stuff.
God. I remember like the sheer panic watching this live for the first time, being like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
Like
that's a
they
lot of Star Wars Rebels, right? It's like you're
Oh
watching
my
something
God,
new.
yeah. It was just a lot of that, but, like, just the build up to it, because like, I did, like, a kind of a crash course, like, obviously, I started here instead of Clone Wars, and, like, the background, because everyone was, like, teasing like, all the ads on Disney XD were teasing that, like, an old enemy or an old ally returns as a new enemy or something like that, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, like, what's the deal on this?" So I did some quick, like, Wikipedia searches, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense. This is gonna be freaky." So, I'm excited. I love this episode. I really do.
It's a winner on the list, that's for sure, and I think it's a worthy premiere. We saw at the end of the last episode, Vader arrives, and Kanan and Ezra have never faced anyone like him before. They dealt with the
Mhm,
Grand Inquisitor all through season one. We haven't met the new Inquisitors, seventh sister and fifth brother, as of yet in the
mhm.
timeline. Even though you and I and the rest of the family have all watched along throughout that, so that's been fun. But like, this is them taking on Vader, and it goes poorly, as to be expected.
Mhm.
So that'll be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah. It's it's like nothing they've ever felt through the Force or seen before, so it's pretty big. So, as we're waiting for everybody to get into the chats, we want to remind you guys to connect your Facebook accounts with StreamYard so that way we can see you in the chats and, connect with you, throw your comments up on screen, and have a fun conversation.
And we can throw all sorts of crazy messages and banners and fun stuff. Jeff is producing tonight, as always.
Yeah.
I also have producing capabilities since I had to learn how to use StreamYard for Wednesday. By the way, we have a new episode of Daughters of the Galaxy on Wednesday,
Woot
which
woot.
we're very excited about. And I
Hey,
had to learn how
Sherry.
to do things like that. I had to learn how to like put the text on the screen and everything.
You
Um,
were professional on Wednesday. You really
I was
were.
I was caffeinated is what I was, and I was like, "Ah!" But it was great because we had a really active chat. Everyone who tuned in for Daughters was,
So much
fantastic.
fun.
So we had a great
So much
time.
fun.
So the I have that capability here as well, so I could, like, grab things and throw them up on the screen, and I feel like if I did that with my actual reactions to this episode, it would crash the StreamYard. Like,
Yeah,
this is one of
definitely.
those types of episodes for sure. Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. Oh my gosh. It was this week is I'm doing extensive amounts of research. I went to back when it was in Detroit, they had that costumes of Star Wars exhibit, and
Mm,
it was like 90% Padme.
yeah.
So I took a lot of
It
photos.
really was.
It really was, and, like, even, like, not just the full costumes, but the fabrics themselves that they designed and printed up and had made for these costumes, like, stunning, like, probably one of the most gorgeous costume exhibits I've ever seen,
Oh, yeah.
and, I've been pouring through my old photos of that and just kind of, like, reading up as much as I can on the internet, so it's gonna be a very good Padme episode this Wednesday with Jamie and I on Daughters of the Galaxy, so make sure you guys jump in the chats with us, and let's discuss the queen, okay?
She is the queen,
The queen.
and I think she is also, like, largely overlooked and
Mhm.
underappreciated, and I don't know why that is. I mean, it's Natalie Portman,
I
and,
know.
she was great. By the way, you can say whatever you want about the prequels. I'm not gonna fight people on whether you like them or not. I don't think they're great, but there are a lot of great things in there, and I think Natalie Portman is one of them. I think Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor, yes, hail the queen. Um they really deliver, and it's interesting, I rewatched, what was it, episode 1, like, a couple months ago? I forget even, it must have been in May when, like, Star Wars was just playing, right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking even at that age, at, like, 19 or whatever it was, she had gravitas as to, like, someone who, I mean, she eventually won an Academy Award. Um, she had that then and brought that to these movies, as ridiculous as they were. Even with
Yeah,
Jar Jar and There's Always a Bigger Fish, there's, like, something grounding you to these movies, and it's Natalie Portman.
it really is. Like, between Padme and Obi-Wan, like, those are the 2 characters that I find
Mhm.
myself compelled to watch in the prequels,
Yeah.
and, hi, Chantel. Nice to see you.
I
Um,
hope in the upcoming, um we'll say, shows, episodes, streams of content, whatever. I
yeah.
want someone to say Padme's name. Like, it's weird that we very rarely hear it. Like, we saw Padme's funeral
Oh,
in Tales of the Jedi, which is one of the most
yeah.
heartbreaking moments with the, she was my friend. And
I
just
was
thinking about
not
that
expecting
scene
that.
makes me, like,
Yeah.
sad, gives me sad face. But, like, it's very rare, especially outside of animation, that we
Mhm.
ever even hear her name. Like, we talked a lot about in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and I think you guys mentioned this in the Daughters of the Galaxy episode when Jamie was talking about it. Like, we heard about her mom and her dad, but, like, and I guess we can't say those names for, like, she can't know it's Padme and Anakin, to break canon or whatever.
Yeah, or to
But
go ask questions to some
yeah,
yeah,
but,
that's
like, he Obi-Wan could have talked to Bale for a second and been like, "Hey, remember Padme?" Like, it could have been like, say the name.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But also, like, when Bale's talking to Ahsoka and it's like, "You shouldn't be here," and she goes, "She was my friend." And instead of saying, "Padme was my friend," it's, "She
Yeah,
was my friend." Just
yeah.
that
I know, it's
I
frustrating.
I'm with you, like, the Ahsoka episodes weren't as strong as I would have liked,
Yeah.
but that one, that was probably the strongest of the 3 of them.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with
and
that
it
fully.
was the one it was so strong, they made a Celebration, Europe, exclusive Arto print based on, like, Ahsoka walking to her ship
Yeah.
after the funeral, and, oh, I'm telling you,
Heartbreaking,
so
heartbreaking.
sad.
And look, Ahsoka is such the glue now. We've actually used her like crazy glue across the
She's
franchise.
Forrest Gump. Yep.
Yeah. I think as we get into our summer of snips, the episode that's going to air for us for Rebels Revisited the week before Padme Ahsoka premieres. That'd be great. The Padme show. Let's go.
Oh,
Bring on
man,
Rose
can you
Byrne. We'll
imagine?
get all of them.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
So Ahsoka premieres on Wednesday, August 23rd. We are going to have our own prediction show on Monday, the 21st, which we're very excited about. That's the final installment of our Summer of Snips for Rebels Revisited.
Right.
The boys will have their watch along of the Book of Boba Fett episode, which is the most recent live action appearance of her the week
Mhm.
before. We're also going to do something special the night before. I'm calling it like Ahsoka Eve, as if it's like a holiday, and we'll have some type of big discussion with like a bunch of hosts. So that's part of it.
It's
But yeah,
exciting.
in my predictions, I'm going to throw out there, and I'll say it now. I want to see Padme. Like, I want to see a live action Padme in like a flat, because I think there are going to be flashbacks, like tons of flashbacks.
Oh my god, can you imagine if they got Natalie Portman back for that?
You don't even need her, just someone who looks like her in the costume. Like, she just has to walk by. Like, look, I'd love for it to be her. I don't
Yeah,
think she's coming back,
I
but
gotcha.
I wanna see Padme. I don't necessarily need to see Natalie Portman,
I gotcha.
and I know that that might not track for people, but, um, I would love to see it.
That'd be really cool. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Ah. Um, and my other thing too is I don't want everything to just be like a cameo parade.
Yeah,
The action figure hour, as it were
yeah.
called.
It makes it a little schlocky, I think. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't. You don't take it as seriously. And look, I love Mando season 3. There were some really good parts, and then there were some like, okay, kind
yeah.
of kind
It's
of
a little
stuff.
uneven.
Yeah, but overall, and I say this with total regard for my wallet today. Oh my god. They dropped probably one of the coolest parts of that episode was the ingenuity that they had with the characters that they already had. Like IG-11 becoming IG-12 and Grogu being able to like
Yeah,
march
that was
around
cool.
and be a big person and also talk at the same time. So Hot Toys dropped that figure.
Today?
And you can yes, and it
Mm,
comes with a ton of accessories. It's
oh,
IG-12 and accessories. So the accessories
that's
are
cool.
like little mini Grogu you can put inside him. The Azelians. So you got
Love
like the
them.
little Babu
Yeah,
Fricks,
Babu Frick
um,
is great.
Bo-Katan's shoulder pauldron, and shield,
Okay.
like for Heavy Mando, his gun that's like burning red because he's just
Mm,
firing like crazy. So it's all these things to add to your additional figures should you have them. Yeah, Bad Baby, no squeezy, but that's like my favorite part of it. And I'm just like, when they drop that today, I'm like, I'm in danger.
I
Help
know,
me.
we're all gonna go broke. Between that and all of the Galactic Cruiser merchandise that just came out,
People are going nuts. They're
yeah.
asking for people to who have booked the
I
final cruises to get them merch
Well,
because
but now
it's
it's on Shop Disney. That's what I'm saying. Like they
not the lightsaber or like the smaller items like the jewelry and the
Oh,
things you could buy. It's just the head pieces like
well,
the
they're
Togruta.
saving that for people who are on it now, but once the thing closes, I think there'll be a stack of them on Shop Disney. I'm
Yeah.
surprised it's not all up, but yeah, I mean
Oh,
it's sold
Jeff with
out
the
now.
tunic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the tunic actually, by the way, how pissed am I working at a
Yeah,
costume
Jen.
company that like, there's a great costume piece that they're doing and I was like, I want to do that. It's the kind of thing that it's like I love it and also I hate it for that reason. Um, but
Yeah.
I am sad that the experiment that was, right, and that
Yeah.
didn't land. It's always sad when you see something fail. And I think there's a lot of that happening right now in the geekdom. It's been a tough year for all things genre and fandom. Shazam was a financial disappointment. Black Adam, I think, was really the starting point of that, right? Like the just financial disaster. We joke that the most profitable movie of all time. Black Adam was just whatever The Rock was saying was incorrect. It did really really poorly. Shazam did poorly. The Flash is off to a really slow start. Elemental is not doing well. Theaters in general are not doing well. Spider Verse is doing well.
Okay,
Um,
I saw Spider-Verse on Friday for the third time.
Third
And
time, that's a lot.
third time,
Yeah,
yes. That's big for me.
yeah,
So, I don't see Marvel movies like I've seen Star Wars movies 5 times, but usually 5 is about my limits. Um, I saw it for the third time, and it was Friday night. The premiere of The Flash had just happened, and that Spider-Verse theater was packed.
yeah.
There was
Spider
not an
Verse
empty
is
seat in that place, and
Spider Verse is winning the day, and it'll
yeah,
consistently make money. And it shows animation can work. Um, Elemental isn't working, I heard, because it is inside out light, which
yeah.
is
I heard it's
you
more
know,
like a rom-com, like, it's really cute. I've
mhm.
I know people that work at Pixar, and they worked really, really hard on this movie,
It
and
looks great. I'm
the
sure it's
story
going to
is
be
really
fine.
cute.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a cult classic, I think.
Yeah, all of them age well, I will say.
Mhm.
I
Oh, yeah.
rewatched A Bug's Life recently, and that was one that was just that's early on, right? And I was like, oh, A Bug's Life, it's really good. Like, and it stands the test of time. It's
Yeah.
the kind of thing where always got overshadowed by like Finding Nemo and Toy Story and all these other like if you ever do if you ever see a ranking list of Pixar, Bug's Life's always near the bottom. It's still an excellent movie. Like Soul was really good. It just got
Oh
lost
my
in the
god.
Disney Plus,
I
like
love Soul. I love
so
Soul. I
good.
love Onward. Onward was phenomenal. Oh my
Honor
god, I
was good.
cried
I liked
so
it.
hard at Phenomenal. Just so
Yeah.
good. What
That's
was
the
the
thing. I
other
don't
one?
think any of these are bad movies. I think
No.
we've now been trained that everything is an event, and if it's not the best thing you've ever seen,
Yeah,
if
and
it's
I
not
don't like
five
that.
stars, like yeah, the tomato meter is really annoying. You
I
know,
feel like this is where I am worried about Ahsoka because we all know how much Obi-Wan was hyped up
yeah,
and how much it landed the majority of things for me. And there are other things like where even Vivian Lyra Blair is like, who's gonna believe that that lump in your coat is not a person? Like she told him in the panel, like
yeah.
so like things like that were like common sense. But um I worry with Ahsoka that
Mhm.
it's gonna fall prey to some of those things,
Some
but
expectations.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping the fact that Dave Filoni is spearheading this, like this is his 100% his baby, and he's guiding the story through that it will get Rebels quality
hmm
stuff out of this. So
I
my confidence
wonder.
is a little bit higher.
Okay, I have a thought for you, and we
Sure.
don't have to answer it now, and it's a thought for the group too. The
Discuss.
expectations of something on an Obi-Wan Kenobi, where we have a returning actor, Ewan McGregor, who we already know from the prequels, continuing a live action story on what I would call an A-level character.
Right.
Expectations in a certain bucket. Ahsoka, animated character, animated female character, who not particularly well liked at first, who has then been sprinkled in across a large part of the series, but parts of the series that are not movies. She wasn't in the original trilogy, she wasn't in the prequels, and she's really not in the sequels either. You know, her voice is in there for a hot second with all the other dead Jedi in episode 9. Fan service. If you've watched Clone Wars and you watch Rebels, Ahsoka is one of the most important characters in all Star Wars. We just talked about her being the crazy glue, but for the casual fans, they might not even know who she is. They're like, "Oh, we're talking about another deep cut character," which is something I want to come back to about the
Mhm.
larger problem with all fandom right now. It's the
Right.
She-Hulk thing, which there's. By the way, I love that show, but it's a problem because deep cut character. Um, will the expectations of her show be anywhere near the expectations of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Just based on like the specific audiences that were interested in each of them. General market, Ewan McGregor, A-level character, and now we're here
Darth
down here
Vader,
being like, yeah, Darth Vader,
Hayden
and then we're
Christensen.
here
Yeah.
being like, I want a continuing story of Rebels season 5. You know, like I think it's a different set of expectations. Um, so I don't know. I'm hoping that it means people are ready for like weird and different and not like just Obi-Wan fights Vader. Which is the
Yeah.
general market fight, right? It's He-Man versus Skeletor. It's the one thing you want to see. You don't want the layered,
Right.
complex everything else. I think. I don't know. What does everyone else think? Am I making any sense? First of all,
So
and
instead of it being like the main event battle, like between it's Obi-Wan versus Vader and he's in his Vader form and he's awake and he's pissed and
mhm,
that kind of thing. Um, but I feel like with this is like live action premiere of Grand Admiral Thrawn.
there's
So
that.
you drag
Yeah.
in the EU people, the Heir to the Empire fans, the Timothy Zahn fans who have been reading these books for years and have such love and such devotion. Oh my god, I'm brain dead today.
That's the one.
I know.
I'm gonna use it in a
Use your words, Ashley.
join
Okay.
us for our Monday devotations to Rebels. That's gonna be our thing.
And while we listen to Devo. Okay. Um but like it just completely my god. It completely like um pulls all that in, and on top of that having characters that the real hardcore, and I'm not saying we're other people aren't hardcore fans, but if you're a Rebels fan, like it's deep cuts.
Yeah.
There's things that have shown up in Mando that we all know about first because we've seen it in Rebels. It's all those little things. So this is like our chance to shine and be like, "Well, see, you should have watched Rebels. You would understand
Yeah.
this better."
I've been
And
saying that for years.
yeah,
Um,
and um, it's just I feel like the what is this going to be about, like the mystery is still there a lot with this because it's
yeah.
not as common and as main event as
Yeah.
Vader versus
This is
Obi-Wan.
a mid-card
Yeah.
situation. Even though everything
Right.
wants to feel like a main event now, one, everything can't, as
Yeah.
proven by the fact that you do need like on any wrestling show, there's a main event and there are a lot of mid-carders and there's always an opening act. There's all of that and you need all of it. You can't just have
Yeah,
main event, main event, main event because once everything is bold, nothing is bold
right,
by definition. So you're all just the same font weight then. Like
right,
it's so I
exactly.
you do need these other weird things and I like the fact that we have some weird stuff coming like Skeleton Crew even though I still don't know
Yes.
anything about what that is.
I know,
But
but I kind of
yeah.
like the mystery. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
same.
oh, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Dave, I agree with you. Expectations on Ahsoka are high. It better
Yeah.
be good, but I do worry that the Ahsoka story will be simplified to be digestible by the casual viewer.
We're gonna see a
Yes,
little bit of that.
I
Yeah.
know that Jamie has had an issue with that. These are characters like we all love and is extremely important and very close to our hearts. So we want to see them done well and not watered down for the everyday casual viewer. So
Yeah.
that is also my concern. I agree with you.
Yep. We could talk more about that as we get into the
Yeah,
episode because looking at the time, we do want to start
TikTok.
on Rebels. So everyone queue up your Disney Plus machines, and we're gonna pick up where we left off
Pick off.
last week. We'll pick you off too, which that's gonna happen. Watch some Tie Fighters and or some X-wings get picked off by Vader. By the way,
Ugh,
Rebels Vader looks so good. He's
so
probably my
good.
favorite version of Vader, which Rebels version of everyone is my favorite version of everything. It's a little unfair, but like Rebels Vader looks amazing.
Yeah, for the art kids, it's the Ralph McQuarrie Power
It's
Hour,
very that, yeah.
and I love it.
All right, you want to do our countdown?
Oh,
We will have a timestamp in the corner above Ashlee's head tonight. So
look at us! We got
it's
a
not
timestamp. We're
exact, but it
There
will
official.
we go. Yeah,
be something to reference if you don't start right away or something like.
Shiny.
perfect.
All
I
right.
love this. I saw that on Thursday, and I was like, "This is brilliant. How have we not done this for the
So
past 7
helpful.
years?" So, yeah, it's StreamYard, man. It's the answer.
Magic.
Yep.
All right, kids. All right, we're gonna count down. It's season 2, episode 2, The Siege of Lothal, part 2. So we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
And it picks up right where we ended last week. Vader is here. By the way, if you're not remembering, or if you missed last week, Ezra and Kanan went to Lothal because the city is under siege, as it were, based on at the end of season 1 with the Grand Inquisitor being killed and the message getting out to everyone. They send Vader. I mean, Vader is here on Lothal. So many people have come to Lothal. Like Tarkin's been here, the Grand Inquisitor's been here, Vader's been here, the Emperor comes to Lothal. Like it's wild.
It's
And look,
bigger
and
than
this,
Tatooine.
yeah, exactly. Why does everyone want to go back to Lothal?
Yeah. Oh man, I was
Oh,
stressing. So like, it's just bringing back all the PTSD. I
yeah,
just,
this is amazing. Vader from a distance is gonna have Ezra kill himself with his lightsaber, like with his own lightsaber. That's incredible. Kid show. Remember, it's a kid show. Which you know that nothing's gonna happen to them, but even
I
still.
know, but
It's like, how are they going to escape this? It doesn't make any kind of
this
sense.
is their first. This is pre Rogue One, so this is their
Yeah,
first foray into really scary Vader.
yeah. Which is crazy that at this point in the chronological fandom, this is the scariest version of Vader we've ever seen.
I know
This came out, I think, a year before Rogue One.
it did.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy. The
Really
Rebels put up
can't.
a good fight.
It stresses me out. It's just seeing like
Traumatized
Ezra
for life.
run in, like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you." Like, ah. Yeah, okay.
Look, here's the thing. As a child of the '80s, it all traumatized me.
Yeah,
Transformers, the movie, they kill Optimus Prime.
he turns
Like,
gray.
yeah, I mean, did you see the Neverending Story as a Gen Xer or an
Okay,
older millennial? I was traumatized from the horse sinking into the mud.
I saw
Nothing will bring you back from that.
no, I saw
Yeah.
part 1, the first one, after part 2.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay,
I like Ghostbusters 2, I watched things in reversed.
okay,
So
totally fair. Look, I was dragged to the theater by my parents because they didn't
oh
know
my
better.
god.
Who knew? It was marketed as a kids movie.
Oh, and
Gremlins horrified me. I watched all the things I shouldn't have watched as a kid.
yeah. Oh my god, Poltergeist.
Oh,
I was just telling somebody
he
today.
hit Sabine. I forgot that Sabine has actual interaction with Vader. Like he
Yeah.
deflected the blaster back at her.
Like,
Um,
hit her right in the head. What the
yeah,
hell?
she has Mandalorian armor. Good thing, otherwise she'd be dead. So, but cool. How cool on your resume though to be like, yeah, we escaped Vader and I got shot by him. I'd top of the resume right there, shot by Vader.
He knows they will not leave the planet yet.
Yeah.
It's their home.
Oof.
Where are they gonna go?
Tell us in the comments what traumatized you as a child. So
Yes. We want to hear your trauma. It's therapy hour.
I assume everyone is like relatively close to our age, so that even if you didn't watch Neverending Story, there's something like right behind that, right? You know, there's always those '80s cartoons, the animated movies, even the Care Bears movie was like shockingly scary. I remember seeing it in theaters, being like,
The
"What the hell?"
Hug-a-Bunch movie was terrifying.
Which one?
The Hug-a-Bunch, like, that was a
That one I
movie.
don't know.
It's like these little, like, Muppet characters, and they end up getting into the real world, and they have something called the Grumps, and they're like these little gremlin characters. Does anybody remember the Hug-a-Bunch? Like,
Hmm.
my mom used to rent that movie all the time and make us watch it. But yeah, so the Grumps are these little gremlin creatures, and they took all the happiness away, and they're the way you could defeat them was by hugs. And
Oh.
it was insanely cute, but my mom
There's a
was
lot of that, like kindness and love, sort of like beating
yeah,
out the bad guys in the
Care
'80s.
Bears.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Care Bears. I love the Care Bears as a kid. I was all
Yeah.
into that.
Oh, me
Um,
too.
Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer was also in
Yes.
theaters. That was
Oh,
pretty dark. There was a lot of like dark kids programming in the '80s. I don't know if it's because the '80s were so nihilistic.
yeah.
And then like people think the '80s were all like glamorous, and it was in some ways because it's like lifestyles of the rich and famous and all that stuff. But
Thanks, Robin
um,
Leach.
you know, the '90s were also, yeah, Gremlins. Dave, Gremlins was horrifying. So we
Yeah.
have that license at work, by the way, which is very cool because we have
Oh, no
costumes for like
way.
Gizmo and
Cool.
Stripe and everything. And we always talk about entry level horror. And I have a chart, and it plots from Scooby Doo to Gremlins to
Oh,
all the way through all the horror franchises we have. That includes like It and The Nun and like The
oh my
Exorcist
god.
and all the like deep horror stuff. But that's your spectrum of horror. Like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street sort of fall in the middle because they're kind of pop culture-y. But we
Yeah.
have some like horrifying stuff. But Scooby Doo and Gremlins are right there. And I was like,
Yeah.
Gremlins is really scary as a kid, though.
Lando's back.
I know. And Billy, and it's Billy.
And it's Boy
Billy's
Billy.
in. Is Billy in season 3 also? I'm trying to remember because he's a big part of season 4.
I don't know.
I'd have to double check.
I gotta check.
Um, but Lando's great. I mean, you can. He's
I
another
love
one.
how Hera's like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can't be trusted. Just like Han, just like Hondo and Lando, which you know my theory that Hondo is the combination of Han and Lando.
yeah,
And
totally.
that's why they couldn't use, whenever they can't use Han or Lando, they bring in Hondo. Um, and so there you go. But I love seeing Lando on my screen. I love Billy D. He's just a good guy.
And Chopper's in the middle, like, wow.
Look at this McQuarrie looking guy.
Oh, so
This droid
good.
is awesome.
So good.
Just enough orange in there too to remind you that you're watching Rebels. So, as we were talking about the various, we'll say, disappointments in the geekdom this year, obviously Shazam and uh, um, The Flash not off to a great start, or I guess Shazam is over, but I watched it on HBO Max and I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Oh, I still
Um,
haven't watched it yet.
I thought it was cute. Like the problem now is that we've been trained to wait for streaming. Even Super Mario Brothers, we bought the home video, which that made 1.5
Oh,
billion
cool.
dollars, so they didn't need my money. But like, if it wasn't coming for another 6 months, could I have waited? You know, I would have maybe gone to see it in the theater.
Right. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I've heard cute things. And
Yeah.
who hasn't heard the Peaches song?
Oh yeah, that's been everywhere. Mario was fun. But the theatrical releases are just doing poorly right now, and so there's concern about everything that's coming. Obviously, the writer strike. I think we have one more week before Screen Actors Guild could potentially start the strike. I know they've authorized if negotiations aren't met, and it looks like even the DGA deal, which seemed like a done deal as of like a week ago, is no longer a done deal. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's hard to keep tabs, and also I'm not an insider. Like I don't have any insight into this. You know, licensing show was last week, and everyone was out there hawking their wares and talking about their properties as if nothing else is going on. I'm seeing releases and all sorts of news popping up every day. They just released the Craven the Hunter trailer today.
I haven't
Um,
watched that yet. I've heard it looks pretty rough.
I I don't know what to think because like
It's one of those like meetings that could have been an email to
is
get
this
back to
another
that.
Mobius
Yeah.
or is it another Venom? And by the way,
Yeah.
neither one of those movies are great, but Venom made $1 billion and Mobius made
And
100
Mrs.
million.
Chen shows up in Spider-Verse. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and this is okay, so I'm getting back to the episode.
Mhm.
I think they're both realizing like the gravity of the situation. Tarkin Town
Yeah.
has been burned. Its people are prisoners of the Empire or worse. We don't know. Obviously, it's a kid show. They're not going to tell us. And Kanan's telling him there were 10,000 Jedi Knights across the galaxy, and Ezra is like, "Well, now it's just you and me
Mhm.
against a whole empire."
Yeah.
So it's stressful for them, and they're realizing like, "Whoa, this is massive." And they've fought Vader, and they know the pure evil that has come out of him.
Yeah.
So it's they
They're
they just hope this
overwhelmed
works. Yeah,
and they didn't sign up for this. They were
yeah,
supposed to help out Lothal for a hot second. They didn't realize they're gonna have to liberate a planet. Like, that's not feasible. Look, there's a
yeah,
blockade. I mean, look at this. They're trapped. This is episode one blockade level stuff. So, Phantom Menace all over again. The planet is fully isolated. It's an outer rim planet. No one's coming to help them.
yeah. And
So, Dave, I'm gonna put your comment up on the screen. Um, I've been having this conversation about Sabine and Ezra for a while.
right.
Even though Ezra has lived on the streets and needed to mature in other ways, he still feels very much like a kid because his motivations are usually very selfish, or they
Mhm.
were up until he joined the Ghost. And Sabine was always very disciplined and understood like her lineage, like I guess sort of the class system, like the houses and everything. She talks about her Mandalorian heritage. She trained at the academy, so she's innately just way more mature to begin with and more responsible. Um, and yeah, she seems light years ahead of Ezra. Ezra doesn't even come close to catching up to her on the same level of like maturity until we get toward the end of season three, when they're training together with the dark saber. She has the dark saber, and it seems like that's her like path forward. He's getting ready to do whatever he's going to do as a Jedi Knight, and he's helping her. And they actually seem like equals in that moment.
Yeah,
But like up till that point, like she seems like a full adult, and he seems like a toddler. Like it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Constantine.
Played by D. Bradley Baker,
Yes.
who's everywhere, um, just killing it as always.
I
Love
am
him.
excited. I really hope I'm not is he coming to Boston? I don't know.
I can't
I'll have
keep
to look.
track now. There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, let's talk about your many many adventures in real life.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
where are you going? What are you doing? Tell everyone.
Okay, so it hasn't been okay. I'll get to the part where it's been like officially announced. Um, I'm going to be at Galaxy, not Galaxy. Oh my God, Granite State Comic Con in New Hampshire, September 15th through the 17th. So if you guys are up in that way, you can come see me and my friend Aaron Leffler and my friend Craig Russo, some more native Northeast people. Um, yeah, so that is definitely happening. I'm really excited about that. And I also just found out that I got into Artist Alley at Terrificon. So I will be at
Right.
Mohegan Sun the end of next month with a bunch of people.
There's a lot of Star
It
Wars
is a
people coming
big,
to that
yeah,
show.
it's going to be a big show. So I'm excited about that. Mitch and the crew are amazing. Carabast, yes. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
I'm
I'm really excited. And I will also be at Fan Expo Boston in the first weekend in August. So
yes.
yeah,
So
so
chronologically, we've got Terrificon in July,
yep,
Fan Expo August, and then Granite State in September.
yes. And
Okay.
I hear back this week about New York.
Oh,
So
exciting.
fingers crossed. All the
Yeah, that would
fingers.
be amazing. Oh, I'm
Ah,
trying to figure out how to make it work for Terrificon because I'm
thank you, Jen Scooby.
close enough to drive to. Um, I'm gonna put this up on the screen. Congrats to show that. There we go.
Thank you.
Um, uh, I'm drivable to Terrificon. I'm trying to sort out. I have some other stuff that weekend is the issue, but I'm trying to get up there because there's
Right.
actually going to be like a nice amount of people on it. I obviously want to see you.
Yeah.
You'll be working, so I'll swing by and say hi. But like, I'm trying to find like where the hell
The
are the
restaurants are
actual
amazing,
guests?
so we can always do dinner afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. We'll catch up for dinner. Um, let's see. Jonathan Frakes, Rebecca Romaine, Anthony Michael Hall, Michael Bean. He's from Star Wars. Um, let's see who else is actually from Star Wars. Uh,
Let's see. I'm trying to think who else is going.
Grey Delisle. Has she done a Star Wars? I think she has. She's done some stuff. Sean Gunn
Yeah,
will be there. Um, who else? Oh, John Wesley Shipp. I love him.
yeah, he's
Josh
amazing.
Segarra is going to be there. I love him. He's fantastic. Oh, Tide Fletcher and Brendan Wayne. That's who we're
Yeah.
excited to see.
Yep.
Yes.
Big
See, I
fan.
lose track of who's where. And
Yeah.
Danhausen and Ethan Page. Ethan Page is one of my husband's favorites from AEW. And I
Oh,
love Danhausen. So, um,
Jason, you gotta come.
yeah. Well, if I go, he'll come.
Yeah.
That'll be the because I drag him to stuff. My poor husband. I'm always dragging him on some insane adventure. Um,
Like he doesn't have fun.
he does. But there are definitely times when he's like, "I'm doing this for you." Uh, I'm trying to see. I
I would love
recognize
to
these
meet D. Bradley
people.
Baker, so I hope I need to meet. Okay, I've known Matt Lanter for a while. I haven't gotten anything signed from him yet. Um, James Arnold Taylor is like a huge like must
Love
get
him.
because I love Obi
Yeah.
Wan. He's one of my favorite Star Wars characters ever, and I just need to get him to sign something. And yes, fun.
Yeah.
Yes, Scooby teleportation technology. Let's go,
Yes.
or at least
Me-
apparating. I'll take that too.
Meanwhile, we're coming up on the big scene. So
Ooh,
right
yes.
now,
We'll
in
figure
the
this out.
episode, and then we'll get back to all the other stuff happening.
Okay.
Ahsoka returns. By the way, the reason we're watching this episode is that it's a big Ahsoka moment.
Right.
And we picked all the Ahsoka episodes from Rebels and our lead up to the premiere, obviously. But right now, Vader is just destroying this X-wing fleet, and Commander Sato is on the bridge, which we're going to talk about Keone Young in a
I love
minute.
that. All right,
Um,
kids, do mom and dad proud.
yeah. So the Ghost is going to take on Vader.
Yeah.
And here comes, and now Ahsoka is gonna do her thing.
And we all know how much of an amazing fighter pilot Anakin is.
Yeah,
But throw
he
in
already
some
did some
force
spin
chokes.
moves, by the
Yeah.
way.
Throw
Like,
in some force chokes and
yeah,
put him up against Hera, one of the best pilots ever. Yeah.
yeah. So here goes Ahsoka and Kanan.
Ooh, more speedy moves
Yeah. Oh boy,
and some A-wings. Yep, Commander Sato on the bridge. Woo woo.
the one and only Keone Young, who will be on our show very soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
So if you
This.
guys have seen my post and Mark's post and you have any questions for Keone, please drop them in the comments on those posts so we can ask him.
Mhm.
We want to, make it as interactive as possible. If you guys are curious about his lengthy voiceover and acting career, like the man has done so much. His IMDb is insane.
It's
So
nuts. I was
yeah.
trying to find like a specific credit and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There's done so much stuff. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
The Apprentice lives. That moment is so intense. I remember screaming at the TV when it
I
happened.
know.
Yeah, and like literally knocked her out. So in that moment, she realized obviously Vader realized it was her. That's easy. So he knows Ahsoka's alive. She realized it was Vader or that it was Anakin, but wasn't quite ready to 100% accept that, I think. So we'll see we'll see where that takes us, right? Because now we have this MacGuffin the whole season that they obviously need to see each other in real life. The Ghost is taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's probably the most damage the Ghost has ever taken, and it's from a worthy opponent.
Yeah, they have good shields on the Ghost, but this one TIE fighter is kicking its butt. You see, this is what I mean about like the Rebels don't always win. Sometimes they just escape.
Way to go, Ahsoka. You got his attention. Oh, not you. She's looking at me like, what? What'd I do?
Exactly.
Chopper's like, okie dokie. Get him, Hera. Yee.
You can tell it's tense because we're all just watching the episode.
I know. This is probably, I was so stressed. I remember sitting on the edge of my couch like this.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Because at this point now, we're in the second season. There's a thought that we could lose one or two of the crew members or a minor character or something.
Like, they're going up against Vader.
Yeah. Hera knows what's up.
Yeah, girl.
I love that they catch Vader. Yikes. Oh, that's when you knew that Constantine wasn't going to make it through, you know?
It's a miracle he wasn't force choked where he stood.
Yeah.
Look at his face.
Yikes.
Smug.
Oh, lordy. So the rebels barely survive, barely make it out. Ahsoka's traumatized.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that must be like to be like, you think Anakin is dead, and then, like, she knows who it is. Now it's just the waiting game of when it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't think she knew he was. Oh, maybe she did. You had to think, like, she's been around a while. She must have heard what happened at the temple.
Right,
So,
but here's how I think. I think she thought Anakin was killed, and I think she thought whoever Vader was just another Inquisitor, or the
gotcha.
head of the Inquisitors, right? Like, because she's not in the know anymore. She's been just a citizen for a little while. Which, oh, by
Yeah.
the way, TC Carson was just at a show that Spencer was at, and it's like, hey, citizen. Um,
Cool. Oh, Ezra. Youth. Pat, pat.
Look at that look on Ahsoka's face. She knows what's coming. This season ends up being a lot about her and Vader, and I like that wipe from basically Ahsoka to Vader, because that's what the Clone Wars is all about. Anakin and Ahsoka and the
She,
clones.
she's shook.
Yeah.
Shook. And he is too.
Hmm.
Vader knows better. Captain Sideburns, you better watch your back.
Yep. And here's the Emperor. And I want to say in this episode, it's Sam Witwer. Like, we don't get Palpatine back until
The end of
or,
the series.
sorry,
Yeah.
what I said Palpatine, Ian McDermott, until the very end of the series. Yes,
Yeah.
the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. Hmm. So Starkiller, right? I saw a thing the other day, and it was like, could Starkiller fight Ahsoka in the Ahsoka
Oh,
show? I was
yeah.
like, okay. I was like, everyone needs to stop. Yeah, shut down, turn off the internet. Enough.
Well, why wouldn't she? You know Ahsoka. She's not going to stand for this stuff. You know her.
Yeah, Ian is the Emperor for sure. I will say I liked Ian Abercrombie in the Clone Wars. I thought Tim
Yeah.
Curry was really good. Sam Witwer does the Emperor in a lot of other things like the Lego stuff, and he's kind of all over the place. And Sam is also like a surprisingly good mimic,
Yeah.
the same way that James Earl Taylor is, and a bunch of other people.
Oh, the
Sam.
awesome. I use that awesome thing with Darth Maul and his many bladed
Oh,
lightsaber.
it's so
That's one
good.
of my favorite things. So,
Um, but Sam's incredible in all things.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think for this little thing, it was fine to have him as
Hi,
opposed
Juan.
to you know
Hi,
um,
Peter.
Ian necessarily. But yeah, what a moment on the journey of the summer of Snips. So what have we seen so far? We watched the Ahsoka Lives moment where she is revealed as the Fulcrum. In season 1 of Rebels, which is very exciting, right after they kill the Grand Inquisitor. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then at the start of season 2, episode 1, we end up on Siege of Lothal, and they go on this mission, and Vader pops up. And now Vader has figured out that Ahsoka is alive, which this entire time he did not know. So
And we all saw it, and obviously it's been like retroactively added to the end of Clone Wars season 7,
Mhm.
where he just sees like all the helmets and the snow and the graves and
Yeah.
finds her lightsaber and he just thinks she died in the crash. And that's it. It's done. And I think now this is something I've been wondering about for a while, and I have to ask this question. Do you feel like that moment when Ahsoka was presumed dead by Anakin, it kind of severed him from humanity even more?
I It's tough because I think as soon as he becomes Vader, there's kind of no going back. Um, and it's like hard to like when you get a failing grade, it doesn't matter if you scored a 40 or a 30. It's still under
Yeah.
65, right? It's a
Right.
fail.
Yeah.
You're in the fail. So I don't know at that point
Right.
like how deep it's gone, but even if you read the new comics, or not the new comics, I guess the comics in general, like there's a whole team up of him and not Padme, but one of the lookalikes, Dorme or
Dorme. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, what's happening here? And
I
that's the
know.
kind of thing where like that's Anakin living out his life with Padme in some like sick, twisted version,
I
right?
know.
Which is also like hanging on to humanity, but in a twisted version, right?
Right.
So I kind of love that idea. By the way, I'm not caught up on those comics, and I think you should go to Bryce and all the rest of the boys on Jedi
Yes.
Archives to talk about that. Because I'm not capable of, yes, please tune into the Jedi Archives, of speaking correctly or smartly, intelligently. I can't speak tonight. What's wrong with me? But like,
Devotation.
yeah, here we go. Yeah, the devotation. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's right. Dave is saying that there are comics where Vader's looking for Padme's grave, and I think even when he is
Yeah.
Vader, he's also trying to figure out how to resurrect his mom. Like, there's all this stuff where he
Yeah.
is hanging on to his humanity by a thread, which I
Right.
guess at that point is how we know Anakin is still a little bit in there, which is how Luke is able to grab him, right?
Right.
At the very end of Return of the Jedi. Um,
Now, because you don't believe that, you think like what's done is done. He's already so far gone at this part.
mhm.
He's just he's dead, you know. Um, do you feel like him realizing Ahsoka was dead was like he was hoping to find her to turn her to the dark side?
Ooh, I love that thought. I
Yeah.
think we could do a whole episode on this. These are
We
heavy
could.
questions. These are not yes no questions, girl. And
Yeah.
we did not rehearse
These are
these, by the way.
hypotheses.
So
I'm just
I
freeballing it tonight.
I I like the idea. I like Peter's idea too, like Hayden, like a what if pitch kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've always wondered a couple different paths that are really interesting to explore. One, what if Padme ended up with Obi-Wan? Because that makes much more sense to me than Padme
I
ending
know.
up with Anakin, right?
Sorry,
Like
George.
it just
Yeah.
does, right? First of all, no one's choosing anyone over Ewan McGregor. Let's start there. The age thing makes like much more sense, and the way to make Anakin jealous and upset is by literally watching the woman he is infatuated with, not in love with, infatuated with, go with someone else who makes much more sense for her.
And you
Like,
see that come up in the movies, like Obi-Wan's turned you against me, and just he just completely forsakes all reason out of
yeah,
jealousy,
yeah,
and he
he's an incel
loses it.
before it was an incel. Um, so I
Well,
know who it's a kind of thing. Okay, but that's one thing.
yeah,
Once Vader becomes he offers to bring Luke to the dark side, right? So there's precedent for this of him being like, "Hey, I care about you. I would like you to join my team. We're on the right side of history. We're going to rule the galaxy." And he wants to do it father and son. Before he knew he actually had a viable son because he thinks everyone's dead. Ahsoka
right,
is as close to a daughter as it gets, and I could
right.
see him being like, Snips, I messed up last time, and you messed up, and you
But
know
in James Earl Jones' voice,
yeah. You know,
you
we
know,
could do this.
Snips.
I actually think Anakin and Ahsoka are like kind of unstoppable together, and I think the Emperor knew that. The one of the ways in which you had to get Anakin isolated was to remove Ahsoka from the picture. By the way, I know this is all
Absolutely
retcon in the sense that like the original trilogy happened before the Clone Wars and all of that,
correct.
but like
Yeah,
if you're looking truly in universe, isolating Anakin was always the Emperor's plan. And when they gave him one of the reasons they didn't want him to become a master is like you wouldn't have a Padawan. Keep doing Padme Padawan. You wouldn't have a Padawan if you weren't a master. So, but then all of a sudden he's got a Padawan, right? So we got to get
yeah.
rid of her, and he's not supposed to have a wife because he's a Jedi. He took a wife, got to get rid of her, and then it's like he's got this unbreakable bond with his brother Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, got to get rid of him. Like it's really the kind of thing where it actually
Constant
took
wedges
yeah.
everywhere, and not Antilles.
Yeah, yeah, it was wild. It's actually the perfectly laid plan ever,
Yeah.
by the Emperor, truly. But no, I honestly think that I think Vader would have done it. I think he would have gone after Padme. Damn it, Ahsoka. I think he would have gone after Padme too and been
Yeah.
like, "Rule by my side. Ahsoka and I are the muscle."
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's like
poetry.
poetry. I hate it and it's stupid, and we should stop reading it. So,
Yeah, I mean, that was just something I was thinking of because if he's irredeemable at that point,
mhm,
pre-Luke,
yes,
it do you think he would have just kind of how we saw the Seventh Sister approach Ezra and Darth Maul approach Ezra, like someone else who is really strong in the Force but still young enough to mold um, through this new knowledge. I know, definitely not, but he would have tried, and it would have been like, well, we would get here eventually, like where they're fighting, and yeah, she's no Jedi, correct.
hmm
But if it never got to that point, like maybe have her be an Inquisitor.
yeah. Look, here's the thing. I
We're
think
throwing this out like a what if episode,
Yeah,
just
no,
so
I
you
no, I
know.
love it. This is
Yeah.
the kind of discussion that I would love to have as like a special one-off conversation of the various things that Ahsoka could have
Yeah.
gone down any of those paths, right?
The
When the
multiverse of Ahsoka. That's what
yeah,
we're at right now.
when the temple turned on her and thought she was the villain, my
Right.
response to that is to become the villain. Like I would have been like, "Oh, you think you're going to chase me down and shoot me?" And she's deflecting blasts. I would have killed everyone coming after me. So that solves that problem. And then been like,
Full
"So
dark side. Yeah.
yeah, full dark side, double red lightsaber, call up Barasafi, be like, "Girl, I
Hey,
know you
girl.
set me up, but we're a good team. Also, there's some people I dislike, and we're gonna start with the little Yoda, because this is somehow Yoda's fault. Let's be clear. So, you chop him up first, and you punt him into outer space. I would be that petty bitch. I would have been on it. I would have. That's the thing is,
Sheesh.
I immediately when I see Ezra, I was like, oh god, I would have been a dark side character like 2 episodes in. It would have been like that fast. But
Whoa.
I think that Ahsoka could have easily gone down that route because so many unfair things happened to her, and then
Yeah.
very half-baked apologies came her way that were really unsatisfying. No, Peter or Yoda, I'm gonna take back your T-shirt. So no, I'm kidding. But Yoda's very much responsible for a lot of what happened. He's at the top. The CEO of the company is responsible for the
Yeah.
strategic decisions, right? The head of the council allowed this shit show to happen. Regardless of the dark side, shrouded the dark side falling and the manipulations of Palpatine, these things. Yoda holds a lot of blame for what happened, and I will never let go of that. Lots of slaps to him.
Ah, for someone who's attuned into the Force as Yoda is,
Yeah,
the whole pass it off with
useless.
always emotion. The Force is,
Yeah,
you know, clouded. The future
useless,
is. It's just like,
unclear. Doesn't tell
come
people
on,
that
dude.
he's trying to tell people things he wants them to hear, but he's being
He's
manipulative.
Dumbledoring this mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch Empire Strikes Back again, knowing what we know from the prequels and everything, again, I know it's all retcon.
Yes.
He's
Thank you,
very
David.
manipulative. Very
Yes. I
manipulative.
agree with you wholeheartedly, and
Yeah.
that's probably why I like
Mhm,
Ahsoka so much is because so many horrible things have happened to both of
mhm.
them in their life, and they stay on the path of good.
You know why? Because she died on Mortis, and the Mortis daughter lives within her in
Mhm.
a way that has not yet been appropriately communicated to the wider audience as to what those implications are. My assumption it is something that helps her keep her North Star kind of
Yeah.
always pointed toward the light side and keeps her safe and borderline immortal. I don't know. She should not have survived a lot of what she survived. And I don't know what really is going to happen to her. Will she even die or force ghost or go to Mortis? There's any number of things. I would love to see the end of her story eventually and it be something really powerful like that. Because I agree. I don't think she would do any of the things I said I would do. She would never kill those clones. She would never turn on, she would never punt Yoda into the
I
atmosphere.
saw a
Like,
great meme today
yeah,
where it's like Ahsoka's like, "Set your weapons to stun. These are our friends," and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Yoda and it's on the clone's chest with the lightsaber.
easily. Yeah.
Like, zero regard, like, the ignorance
Yeah.
there. Like,
I know.
anyway.
Well, to be fair to Yoda, I mean, he could feel what was in that moment. He finally woke up and was like, "Oh, guess what? Everyone's being exterminated around me. Me killing these two clones won't matter." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Save my
Um,
life. I'm also short.
yeah, Yoda's like
Yeah.
Snape. Oh, that's interesting.
Woo.
Um, Yeah. No, I think there's a lot to mine here. I think that's what makes an Ahsoka a really interesting character.
Yeah.
You go back and you watch all of this, and you see the various paths she could have taken. I love Barasafi. You know that it's the number one thing I want from the Ahsoka show, aside from a good story, is I want Barasafi to pop in because I think that there's, aside from unfinished business, there's just great character connection between those two characters, and it
Yeah.
is where the fork hits. Like Barasafi goes one way, Ahsoka goes the other, and in
And
some
either of
ways,
them
like
could have
that's
gone
what if right
different way.
there,
Yeah,
right? What if
totally.
Barasafi listened
Yeah.
to Master Luminara and like took her training like seriously and diligently and listened to rules, and
Mhm.
Ahsoka, who always broke all the rules, broke one more rule and became a dark side user. So it's true. I've seen a thing, Dave, about Harry Potter being sucky Star Wars. So I'm with you on that. There's a great thing on, like, it's an Instagram reel, like all things, right? But that's a fun one.
I get that sent to me at least like twice a week
Yeah.
by people, and it's
Like,
hilarious.
there are probably, I think, 8 stories out there, and then everything else is just a variation thereof. So,
Right.
the hero's journey, they keep trying to overcomplicate it with, like, more turns and everything, but it's the same major beats over and over
Yeah.
again, especially if you're called to action and you don't wanna do it, and then you have to do it and fate told you to. Like, we could write one right now. We should do that as we should write an episode of Rebels as a group, you know? We
Like
could do,
Mad
like,
Libs.
yeah, oh my god, that'd be really fun. Like, who's your
That would.
enemy? Like, what do we have to do, this particular episode? What's the mission? So,
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be fun. It'd be
oh my god, if
hilarious.
Yoda cloned himself. Ugh, no. I don't mean to be that guy, but, like, Yoda's irked me for a long time. I loved him in the original trilogy, and I hated him in the prequels.
Hmm.
I just I because it's so inept. It's inept leadership, and it's the kind of thing that, like, especially when you watch the Clone Wars and you watch how slowly and stupidly, it all evaporates, it's, like, that much worse. It's the boiling the frog, but, like, no one's paying attention to the temperature change, so it makes me insane.
Yes. Oh my god.
We could do that one day. We could really
Yeah.
have, like, a really
That'd
stupid
be so
episode of us
fun.
just, like, doing, like, dumb
We'll write up a
little.
Rebel
Yeah,
story and we'll just fit things in accordingly. And
I
yeah,
love it.
totally. That'd be like
We'll get a
a
plot
day where
outline and
yeah.
start swapping in characters. Oh my god, so I'm no D&D'er, but you know that we could all, like, play roles. We could bring on Jamie and maybe get Jeff on screen, a few other people. It'll be like
Yeah.
Jeff could be Zeb. We'll let you say Carabast. There it is. Um, we'll get Jamie
Yeah.
in here as Sabine. Or do you want to be Sabine? You could be Hera. So I feel like I
Jamie's
have.
Hera.
Yeah, yeah, that makes more sense. Um, well, all right. I feel like we're gonna do this. We're gonna have, like, by the way, this is the reason we sometimes just come really loose, right? Of, like, what do we want to do with the show? With that in mind, by the way, we are deep in. We are planned out to be deep in Summer of Snips, and then coming up over the next
Mark
few
has been
weeks
working
is
his
like
magic with the scheduling. Like
there's
it's gonna be so good.
there's so much
So
fun
good.
stuff. It's crazy. But we also have very non-snip related content coming on Rebels Revisited in the next couple weeks because some surprises have popped up that have landed. So we've talked a little bit about having on
Swish.
some special guests. So Keone Young is joining us in very
Wonderful.
very soon in 2 weeks. So get your questions in now. Let us know what you want to ask. What you want us to ask him. It doesn't have to be Star Wars related. I spoke to him on the phone for a while and he's like, I want to talk about, like, my entire career. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's got stories, by the way.
Storm Shadow, G.I.
Yeah,
Joe, like the man Avatar The
he's done
Last
it all.
Airbender.
Yeah,
He's done so much. He's been on screen as well, not just voice acting.
yeah,
Seriously, go to that man's IMDb and odds are if you love something within the last 20 or 30 years,
yeah,
he's
he's
been in
been in
it.
it. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, my husband recognized him from the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And so when we met
Of
him
all
at,
things.
I know, when we met him in Rhode Island Comic Con, Jason scrolled through, he's like, oh, we
Yeah.
did a Golden Girls. That's where I know him. And I was like, that's the reference. So, but we have a great photo with him when we met him in Rhode Island,
Yeah, so
which is
good.
really nice. So we'll see him very soon in 2 weeks. And then we have another guest, which we're going to announce next week because we're still landing some specifics, but another voice actor from the show is going to be joining us. And,
Yes.
and then later in the summer, we have some other guests popping in. So that's going to be fun. I know you are visiting another show on the network as well. I know you're going to be hanging out with Bryce at some point.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I,
I'm in the Jedi Archives. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I cannot wait for that.
I think you guys are doing Tales of the Jedi, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
We
I
are.
wanted to double check. I was like, wait a minute. Did we confirm that?
Yeah.
We
Well,
have
we
so
did
much in the hopper right
now.
now. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I know it was
Um,
something that as like I said, I love that series. There's a lot of backstory that's filled in on both sides, and I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and Bryce is great, so that's gonna
Yeah.
be a fun one. The whole what we haven't done, and it's because it keeps changing, and I know we're only 2 weeks in. The Summer of Snips has a lot of moving pieces to it. Monday night is obviously Rebels Revisited. First and third Wednesday is Daughters of the Galaxy, and we're trying to cover characters that are specifically tied to Ahsoka, at least for the start. Um, Thursday night watch along is Clone Wars for the first several weeks, and then it'll shift into Mandalorian. So, in fact, this Thursday, tune in for some season 1 episodes of Clone Wars. I picked some of them as just my favorite Ahsoka moments. There's 5 of them. Yeah, prepare yourself. They're 20 minutes long, so it's still doable. It's kind of like watching a
Yeah.
movie, but like I couldn't cut it down because I couldn't get rid of one of them in the mix. I was like, I really want you guys to see all of
Yeah.
the
You have to
Ahsoka
run the
episodes.
whole gamut
Yeah.
with her in season 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I feel like I'm
And
gonna have to be here in the chat to be like, guys, mention the thing said.
yes, yes,
So
please. So I learned all about Stinky Punky Muffin and floating through space. Where's David when you need him? And Jeff.
yeah.
There we go. Yes.
What is this? This is amazing. By the way, the
Th-
Thursday night watch along was really good. If you guys
It was
didn't watch the
fun.
Clone Wars
Yeah.
movie, watch the watch along of the Clone Wars movie. Like the boys were having a blast with it because
Yeah.
it doesn't age well. It's not like going to get better over time, the movie,
It's
but
like watching
you know,
Toy Story 1.
yeah,
You see how far the animation has come and the
yes.
story has come up until this point.
Yeah.
So
So if this
it's,
is our starting point,
yeah,
we're making big
definitely.
strides. So yeah, so this Thursday we'll do some episode or some season 1 episodes of Clone Wars featuring Ahsoka.
Right.
Next week we have our next episode watch along. What is next week? How do I not have that up? Um oh, I have it right here. It's Relics of the Old Republic. So that'll
Ooh,
be
okay.
next week. Is that next week? Yes. Relics
Yes.
of the Old Republic. Great. Um
Exciting.
and then uh, after that, we're into the rest. Then we'll have the Keone Young interview on July 3rd. So we're flying through. And then what else is going on? We've got San Diego Comic Con in a month. Today, we actually announced that Denuo Novo is attending.
So
So
go see
officially,
Mark.
yep, come find me, booth 4049. I will be there the whole time. Preview night is that Wednesday, the 19th or whatever it is of July. And we'll have a nice big a lineup of product, and we're going to try to do a meetup of some sort. I realize I keep saying that and we haven't made any concrete plans yet, but assume that Saturday evening we'll all get together for drinks, probably at like a hotel lobby. It's going to be very, very casual. But yes, Juan, definitely send me a Facebook message.
Yeah.
Anyone who's going to be in San Diego for Comic Con, even if you're there for a day or part of the day, I will be working the show. So if you're there during show hours, you can just come meet me at the Denuo Novo booth 4049, or if you're able to do like the official virtual cantina meetup, we'll have one of those coming probably that Saturday night.
Go see Mark and try on some helmets.
Yes, and then we'll hopefully get to all see each other at Terrificon, and
Yes.
then at Fan Expo Boston where Ashley's going to be
Yeah.
working, um, and then there's other stuff coming, so we'll have that.
Yeah. So
What other
fingers crossed for New
events?
York and Rhode Island. I'm
Yes,
also hoping to get into Rhode Island. One way or another, I will be at there. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to Rhode Island. I love that show. All right, what else is happening? The boys, they did the Blade last week
oh,
on Jedi Archives, and then
tpublic.com. We have our Pride shirts on
yes,
TeePublic. So make sure you log on and check out all of our virtual Cantina t-shirts at this link here. Um, and I think the sale's over, so but there's still amazing shirts on there. Like I said, including the Rebels Pride shirt,
yep,
uh, Wookie Wookie Pride, and it's just
yeah, there's some
awesome
really fun
shirts.
ones,
Corky
and then
Crees, yes,
okay, yeah, the Rebels Revisited, all of that's up there,
yeah.
um,
My
and
shirt
then
is not on there, but it's all good.
we have one other announcement coming, which I think I might have mentioned it last week. We are going to be doing a very special Pride episode
Yes.
of just we don't. It's not even one of the shows really. It's just
This is
um,
special.
yeah, like a sort of special one-off.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a few of the queer hosts on the network. So I'll be
I'll be
there.
there.
Ashley's joining. Jamie's going to join us. Bryce is going to be there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about LGBTQ representation in Star Wars, of which there is not that much. So I was
But
joking.
it's
I was
off to
like,
a good start.
yeah. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about what there currently is, what there could be. I was joking. I was like, this could be an email, right? Like what you were saying earlier. But there's definitely discussion to be had about things that were, but like weren't. Like the whole Poe Finn thing is such an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And there's actual real representation too, but they're probably the ones that people might think like, oh, were there gay characters? Was it them? But we'll get into the ones that actually happened, and then sort of LGBTQ representation in like geek culture in general has certainly gone up in the past few years, but at the same time, it's like nowhere near levels that like the general population experience. So anyway, we're going to talk about that. We have a very loose agenda, and we're just sort of like figuring it out as we go, which is how we roll over here, as you guys know.
Yeah.
It's very casual.
That's how
Um,
we come up with fun stuff, though.
yeah, I'm excited about this Mad Libs episode. We'll have to do that after
I
once Ahsoka's on
know.
the air, so we have plenty of time for us to build maybe a D&D style campaign slash episode.
No,
Dude, it's not a
Spencer.
spinoff, so yeah, I mean, throw that out in the trash. No, it's
Haven't you thrown enough
yeah.
spin-offs at me?
Yeah. We're actively looking though for new programming. So
Yeah.
with that, I will say that if
Just
you have
kidding.
any ideas for a show and you're legitimately interested in being on air on the VCN, please email
Yes,
me,
David, I
contact me on
agree.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I do think that Poe and Finn got rewritten somewhere. I think the studio got nervous. I also think that like Poe definitely comes across as bi, and Finn just comes across as nothing because they never wrote anything useful for Finn. Like, and that's a failing of the writers,
Yeah.
not John Boyega. John Boyega's awesome. But also Oscar Isaac, no matter what he's doing, is accidentally charismatic and flirty. He's kind of like Pedro, where just like you can't not fall in love with this
Yeah.
man. Every straight guy I know is like Oscar Isaac. Like, they talk about like who would be the one guy or who's like someone you think is actually a good looking guy objectively. Oscar Isaac's like on that list all the time.
The
He's
man is
just very
single-handedly taken over everything Disney.
he's in everything. He's in
Single-handedly.
Spider-Verse. Yeah. He's Moon Knight. Like,
Dune,
yeah,
Star
everyone loves
Wars,
Oscar Isaac. Um,
everywhere.
and he's also like, from what I heard, just a genuinely nice person, but like very charismatic. Some people just have that energy about them. So it kind of looks like he's flirting with you. But then you're also watching up close and it's like, why is he biting his lip? And how did that take make it as the one in the movie? Like, what's going on here? He didn't do a take where he wasn't like looking longingly into John Boyega's eyes in a way that's obviously
I'm
sexual.
sorry, combine that with how he approached Jessica Chastain on the red carpet for their movie premiere or their series premiere. Man,
Yeah, he's sexy.
the
It's and he
vibes,
you
the
can't you can't turn
vibes.
it off. He can't like stop being him.
Yes,
Um,
Sherry,
w-
currently on Broadway.
yeah,
So,
we'll talk more about this in the show, but there's also like basically if you remembered Empire Strikes Back when Han and Leia are fighting in the hallway and like someone walks between them, they set up that shot exactly with Poe and Finn and have someone walk right through and someone put the side by side up and I was like, are we reaching or is that really intentional? So I gotta find it because I feel like I want to play that clip and be like, guys, like I look, being a
if
gay
if
person
it's
looking for
Ryan
representation in
Johnson,
cinema, like, yeah,
Ryan's good at things like that. So,
yeah. That's the kind of
I
thing where
think it was intentional
it
because
feels that way, but then I
yeah.
also think I'm mentally ill. Like
No.
but someone else saw it on the internet, right?
No, and
So,
I agree with you. You're
Ref
not
is like,
mentally ill. There's people that agree with you, so you're not. It's not in your head.
That's right. There are several of us. We must not all be crazy. Um, so
Partially,
yeah,
a little
but
bit.
anyway, by the way, this is a little taste of what that episode is going to be like. It's going to bring
Yes.
in tens of viewers. So it's gonna be a great time then. We're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be on Wednesday the 28th. So it's the week
Yes.
that we don't have a Daughters of the Galaxy episode.
Right.
So this week coming up, we have Padme. Next week, Ashley would have had the night off, and now I've pulled her into the big gay explosion of a
Oh, I
show.
don't
So
care.
that'll be
It's
fun.
totally fine.
Um, and I think that's everything going
Represent.
on for us. Yes. Hail all the queens. It'll be a
Yes.
good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, more to come on that. We'll announce officially on the Facebook, and then be on the lookout for our upcoming interviews. I'm so excited about having Keone on the
You
show,
guys.
and then another
Big
special guest
summer.
to be
Yep.
announced very, 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 very soon.
Yeah.
And then Ashley's going to go visit Bryce. We have Bryce coming to see us at some point, so there's going
Yeah.
to be a lot of like,
And we'll
um,
also have Jamie filling in for Mark very soon because
yep,
Mark was Taking
I
a
have
little vacation.
yes, I'm going on a cruise.
Well
So
deserved one.
yeah, that'll be fun. So there's gonna be some people popping in and around. It's gonna be a good time. So big gay explosion.
David.
Yes,
Oh my god. Put him in a pride shirt. I love it.
he
Or
is
just have him
adorable.
be like a rainbow behind him.
Yeah. Here we go.
Sorry, I'm just throwing ideas out for you guys. Yes.
I'll put that on like Oscar Isaac. There you go.
Oh damn
No,
right.
you know who our actual LGBTQ representation is truly canonical in Star Wars male, because there are more lesbians and bisexual women,
Yeah.
as is the pig and the chicken from Resistance. So,
Yeah.
things are going great. And this is the
That's
representation we asked for.
that's what we go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
That's
good
where we
times.
are.
So I'm gonna leave everyone on that. Can you put up the crawl that has the follow us with all of our handles? Because I always forget to do this. So
Yeah.
follow us at Virtual Cantina, all those things. Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. Um, YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, Instagram at Virtual Cantina Network, Twitter Cantina Virtual, and Hive at Virtual Cantina, and TikTok
We
at
are
Virtual
everywhere.
Cantina. And if you need to email us for whatever reason, virtualcantinanetwork at gmail.com. So make sure you follow us on our social channels, and remember to invite your friends to the Facebook group,
Yeah.
because that's where all the activity is really happening.
Especially if you think they'd like all this. And it's interactive. We try to make it with you guys in mind and have the discussion be cool and free flowing and fun. So yeah, and if there's anything you guys want to see, if there's any Rebels things that you think we should talk about, throw it at us.
Mhm.
We'll gladly look into it.
I'm going to add this Mad Libs episode. So,
I know. Oh
yeah.
my god, I'm excited. I love Mad Libs. Like I wasted so much of my youth with those books like slung into my backpack. Like comic books and Mad Libs. If you searched Ashley's backpack from like 3rd grade through I want to say 9th grade, it was Mad Libs and comics
That'll be fun
and
for us
sketchbooks.
to do now. Yeah, I'm now like writing in my head. Not that I don't have 1,000 other things to do. So, meanwhile, we are 10 minutes over, so we're going to call it a night.
So we're
But
back on our normal schedule.
yeah, so not bad. 10 minutes over, like
Right.
right on. So thank you everyone for joining us with Siege of Lothal Part 2 in the Summer of Snips. It's going to be quite a summer ahead of us.
So much fun. And we're really grateful that you guys join us. And again, big week ahead, so stay tuned. May the force
Right.
be with you.
Night, guys.
Bye.